This will be supernatural. You know, super natural.
Natural.
No ghost whooping, right? No ghost whooping, right? Right?
If you know, you know. Young
Right.
bucks listening to this,
Right.
go back to
No.
1990. Welcome back to the Café. I'm your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent, and I'm back with another episode. I got the homie, the poet.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna just let you introduce yourself, my brother.
What up, man? My name is Kanaya, man. Other people will know me as Hostage. Explain the name a little bit so people are not disturbed. Of course, when I really fell in love with poetry and started writing, I always felt like the art would come and get me. So no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing, if I had to stop and write it, if I had to wake up in the middle of the night, I had to do it. It would take me hostage. So that's why I always named myself Hostage. 1914 is the zip code, an area code where I'm from. It's 914. And obviously it's a pivotal date in history, but that's not why I named myself that. It's just where I'm from. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
So yeah.
You hit me with a curveball there. I thought you was just like 1914. That sound cool. That's the mark right there. You know, I didn't know that was an actual block.
Yeah, it's area code 914.
Area code, yeah.
From where I'm from, Westchester County. We're about 40 minutes outside of Manhattan, about 25 minutes outside the Bronx. So that includes obviously Mount Vernon, Yonkers. Yeah.
All my New York listeners going crazy right now. Before we get into it though, y'all know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit the follow, hit the bell, all that other good stuff so you can get notifications whenever I drop a new episode of Coffee and Beats. I just want to start off with,
Sure.
I start off every show. Coffee. Are you a coffee guy? Are you a tea guy? Are you a Starbucks guy? A Dunkin' Donuts guy? What you going with it, man? It's field service.
I tried to get into coffee. It didn't really affect, you know what I mean? I didn't really like it. Maybe I just didn't give enough time to find something that I like. But tea, big tea guy. Every day, two cups at least. I drink this tea called English Breakfast. It's called Awake. Made by Tazo. They got some good stuff, and it packs a punch. Definitely enough caffeine in there for you. It's nice and dark, and yeah, I get into it, man. Sometimes the loose tea, you know what I mean? Get some of the loose tea. You can make your own little batch, you know what I mean? Some of the loose tea, stuff like that. Yeah. It's dope. I like it, man.
Yeah, I like Tazo. They got some of the best flavors. We actually used it for our open mic, man. You would have been in heaven.
Wow.
Shout out to the wifey. She made this drink. It was actually, so what we did was we had hot coffee and then we had cold tea.
Okay.
So if you want iced tea, she used the Tazo and combined it with some stuff that she came up with. And man, her friends was buzzing about it, man. They were like, oh my goodness, this is good. They drunk that more than the coffee, you know. So
what about you? Your coffee?
You lose the most weight. I love my caffeine, and I'm like, man, what's the alternate? So I started getting into coffee. I was drinking a lot of Starbucks before the pandemic. It wasn't until the pandemic I already set it down and realized, man, like I can't go a day without getting my Starbucks. It's hard, it was hard with the pandemic. So
yeah, it was.
I was like, you know what, let me get into making my own stuff. And I started shopping, making my own concoctions and everything. I found out about Amazon having all these different flavors, and I got hooked. I got addicted.
Really?
So,
yeah, during that pandemic, I would see long lines outside of Starbucks. Long lines.
And I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
I might as well make my own
Exactly.
and get it over with. My wife's more the tea person, so she does her tea. She got that Earl Grey. She got that constant comment,
Okay.
So she gets into it. So yeah, real quick, before we get into the album, what inspired you to like really get into poetry, get locked in to poetry?
When I was growing up, man, I'm the baby boy in the family, so I got two older sisters. So when I came, I get home before the middle sister get home, watch my little cartoons or whatever. As soon as she come home, she bully me, grab the remote control, bang, and throw it on video music box. And I would just sit next to her and just watch Kumo D and Sonic and you know what I mean, the Big Daddy Kanes and the Rakims. I'd be like, I loved it. You know what I mean? I just loved the music and loved the words. Just falling in love with that art form. But then kind of realizing also that I wasn't really good at being a rapper. You know, I just wasn't good at it. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I just wasn't good at it. I felt it kind of confining. I felt that I had to rhyme, right? Even when I didn't want to rhyme. You know, I just had to rhyme on the 2, on the 4, on the 8, 16, 32. If I was really nice at it. This is a real artist thing, kind of weird. When I started writing my raps, even like the lined paper, so I have a line here, then a line here. I felt like the lined paper would like constrict me. So then I started writing everything on non-lined paper, and then I forsake the rhyme, and I would just write, and next thing you know, man, like some years later, man, started getting into poetry. I didn't realize it the whole time, though. Growing up in the truth, I was surrounded by poetry. There's so much of it in the Bible. One day, one of my homeboys, man, we lived in the same building. He said, "Yo, I saw this poetry thing and I taped it for you." And I was like, "Okay." It was on HBO. So he handed me a big VHS joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had the little
six of them things on it.
He had the little tissue paper like in the corner so he could record over it. For those that know, you know what I mean? If you know, you know. He had the little tissue paper in the corner so he could keep recording over it. And he recorded this program, and it was called Slam Nation. And there was a team from New York, and they were competing to go to the National Poetry Slam. And there's a National Poetry Slam held in a different city every year. At least it was back then. I don't think it exists anymore. At least from what I read online, I think they're changing it up. But so a different city every year. And I watched that team. It was a team from the year 2000 competing to make their way to the national team. And on that team was this wonderful poet. Her name is Jessica Camor. Another guy named Bo Sia, who was amazing. Mums the Schema went to do stuff on, he ended up being on Oz. I didn't have HBO, so I never had a chance to watch it, but I just know.
Yeah, I couldn't watch HBO either.
yeah, I never had. So, you know what I mean? So I just knew, like, you know, like he was on it during the movie. They were talking about like him acting and stuff like that, and another guy named Saul Williams. So they were on a team together, and I just watched them progress and listened to the writing, and I just got obsessed with it. And then I started writing more and more, and then I started hitting open mics. And then after a while, I started competing.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. That's excellent. I did my homework. You're a chess guy.
Yep.
I used to be heavy in the chess. I kind of slowed down over the years. But has chess had an influence on how you write?
I won't just flat out say no, because then maybe I don't know. Maybe it is influencing me somehow. But no, I don't feel like it's had like a direct effect on my writing, although I love chess, there's a couple references in my work here and there. I don't have a chess poem, right? I wish I did, but I don't have a chess poem, but they are kind of like two worlds. Beautiful though, both very beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot of strategy involved, you know, outthinking the other guy, being 10 steps ahead. For those, you know, who follow this page, you probably already know. If you don't know, now you know. I'm a barber, and I used to cut in the shop. I mean, I'm in the suburbs now, but when I used to cut in the hood, we used to have his brother. His name was Seymour. He would go to different McDonald's around Chicago, and which is where I'm from, and which he would just put out his chess board. He have his timer. He have his little clock, and whoever want to come up to the table and battle him, he battle him. and he was well known throughout the neighborhood. He would come when it was time for him to get his haircut. He would bring his chess board, and people would just had dudes, even some of the dudes in the neighborhood, you know, some of the gangbangers in the neighborhood that was good at chess, came in there and played against him. And his thing was,
chess is mesh without a clock.
Chess is mesh.
Chess is mess, but he had that accent. He's like,
chess is mesh without a clock.
You know.
That
was his slogan. That was his slogan.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I absolutely love the game. There's nothing like the game. Nothing like the game. And now I'm teaching it, which is absolutely amazing. That's one of my favorite parts of the game, is teaching it. Nice. So I got a couple chess clubs in the area that I run. So I got some kids, and some of them are really good, man. Amazing.
Kids pick up on it like quick, man.
So fast. I don't understand. They pick up on it so fast.
Yeah, definitely. Now, have you won any accolades for poetry in the past?
Yeah. A few. You know, I've won some local slams and some out of town things. And 2003, I was a second place national champion that year. And you have to go through a series of competitions to be able to get to the nationals. And then when you get to the nationals, there's more competitions during the week. And, you know, second place national champion that year. And then I went back in 2013, I started doing some local competitions again and competing, and some series of competitions. You win enough of them, you get to go to the nationals. I went back to the nationals in 2013, so it was a lot of fun. And then I stopped competing professionally, started teaching workshops. I teach with the Westchester Arts Council and the Hudson Valley Writer Center. So yeah. So
that's amazing. I see why this particular album, Lucille's Son, is grabbing a lot of attention. This interview is long overdue. We supposed to interview about this album when it dropped, but you know, because with Coffee and Beats, man, I gotta get on it when the albums drop. That's my job. But you know, I'm a little late to the party, but I don't care, man. I wanna put this thing out here. I'm looking at this project. I'm looking at the flow of the track list, and it's almost as if it's telling a story about yourself.
Yep.
One of the things that caught my attention, and you kind of touched on it earlier, with verses like, I'm an 80s baby, so all I know is good rap and R&B, right? Mm-hmm. Or basically turning the pandemic and basically dressing it up with paraphernalia of hip-hop. Is a lot of this album inspired by hip-hop, or are there other genres that have influenced this album too?
I listen to everything. I try to listen to what I can listen to, right? So I try to listen to that stuff. So you'll hear there's a hip hop influence on this album. You'll notice there isn't much drums on this album, but the drums will be coming. I wanted to keep this just an EP and just keep it kind of smooth. So you hear like some lo-fi kind of vibes to it. You'll hear some record crackling and just like a real like mixtape feel to it. Very early on in the project, on the intro, you'll hear a poem in the background. So that poem in the background is actually forecasting exactly what will happen throughout the entire album. Really kind of listen to the poem in the background, which is kind of cool. So yeah, man, I like the project, man. I think it came out pretty well.
Yeah, it really did. I'm just looking at some of the track lists. You know, we all love our moms, man.
Yeah,
you got to start. You got to give moms that love in the beginning, right?
Right, and it's named Lucille's Son, right? So why shouldn't she set the album off correctly? You hear like a nice little voicemail from her. So I was very selfish, and there was times that she would call me and I wouldn't answer and see if she would leave a message. So she didn't know, you know what I mean? So I compiled a whole bunch of them, and those are some of that you hear on the album. The intro, right in the very beginning, you'll hear me say, I wasn't able to taste the loyalty and rain or hear the forgiveness and thunder. Now, Rain is on the album. There's a name, there's an album called. So I wasn't able to hear
Let It Rain.
Before I began writing, I wasn't able to taste the loyalty and rain or hear the forgiveness and thunder. I now count the seconds between the thunderous echoes in the electrostatic discharge, and I pose questions to the rain, like if I plant a seed in my heart, will a garden grow or just thorns? A very thought-provoking question, what we deal with as humans. If I plant a seed in my heart, will a garden grow or just thorn? Like, who are you as a person? So then you get that voicemail and you get Mama's Graze, and obviously that's a poem about my mom. I was recently laid off. This was right before 9/11. I was working for a computer company. During that time, there was a lot of internet companies, right? The internet everyone was trying to be Amazon, right? Before Amazon, right? So this little place was this little shopping portal, and we were all doing like customer service, and we were all laid off because the company went under. And so I was back home with my mom, and I happened to look, and she was in the bathroom, and she was just looking at her gray hair, but like in disbelief that there was so much hair, so much gray hair. So there's a line in the poem that says, "You have rightfully earned what you have, mother, having raised 3 generations single-handedly with both hands tied behind your back." It's true. As a Black woman, there was a lot of struggles she had to contend with. And very early on, it says she threatens him every morning at 7 with black dye, obviously the hair dye. Talking to numbers 3 and 31 as if they were her 4th and 5th born, because I'm the 3rd born, the last born. So talking to number 3 and 31 as if they were her 4th and 5th born. And I often wondered if I calls 18 through 25. 18 through 25, the difference is 7. So talking to numbers 3 and 31. That's also 7. So that's another 7 there.
7 means complete in the Bible.
Exactly. So that's why there's 3 7s in that run. If you count them all, there's 3 7s, and 3 is what? 3 times for emphasis. So yeah. So there's a whole that we could talk. There's all that throughout the album. There's all that throughout the album.
That's what's up, man. I love how you tied that in with your mom. You really put a lot of forethought into that particular track. Now, the 2 tracks that really again stood out for me, because a lot of people have gone through this in their life at one point in time. We all talk about relationships, especially in Jehovah's organization, right? Sometimes you date somebody or it don't work out. You kind of one, and sometimes people marry some, that don't work out.
It's true.
There was a bar for me, BMH, the song BMH, Rahab with no bravery, with none of the bravery, only. I promise you, that bar right there, I literally screamed when he said that, because I felt that line. What made you think of the Rahab, who spoke up highly in the Bible?
Very highly. Very, very highly. In fact, she was ancestress to Jesus, right? That line in particular is very interesting because obviously BMH stands for Betray My Heart. So the whole poem is about me betraying my wicked heart. Jeremiah wrote for us in Jeremiah 17:9 that the heart is more treacherous than anything else and is desperate. It's true. So that's why I'm betraying my heart during the poem. So my heart is like Rahab with none of the bravery, only prostitute. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That line right there was a standout line in that poem. But then we flip it, right? We go to the next track, and now you're talking about someone who didn't betray your heart, right? And you spit that. It's one of the most famous bars off this particular album. There's a melody within your melanin. How did you come up with that line?
This is gonna sound super weird, right? I know artists, and you're an artist too, right? So sometimes some things may be hard for other folks to understand, but sometimes I don't remember writing and stuff. Sometimes, so I have my little note here. Sometimes I'm walking about that. I just write something down, bam, you know what I mean, and just leave it. Next thing you know, I'm working on a poem. I go, oh, let me go to this notepad. I have a whole bunch of little things in this notepad. So let me see. Oh, you know what I mean? And it worked. There's something about the way your skin soaked up the sun. There's a melody in your melanin. There's a rhythm in your radiance, a tinge of survivor's guilt in your cadence because you made it. So yeah, so that's like the overall line. But if you've never fallen in love before, or if you have fallen in love before, sometimes your spouse or the person you're in love with, they're music. They are music. You know what I mean? They are music. That deep, that person is music. And I love music. That's the thing about it. I am absolutely obsessed with music. I do everything to music. I clean to music. I brush my teeth to music. It's a soundtrack all day. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yep. So my love for music and my love for my wife, that's what creates that melody in her melanin, you know?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Great transition, from, such a dark relationship to a relationship of light. And
Right.
and then, again, one of the things that I was really impressed with this particular project, Wild is the Wind. I want to talk about that real quick. The production side of it. I'm big into production. I love listening to instrumentals. I love listening to engineering, mixing, things of that nature. Who are some of the people behind this project that's giving you all of these sound effects? I mean, because Wild is the Wind, it seems like that one is just sound effects galore in that one. Who's behind? Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Who's behind all of that, man?
So there's a brother who I'll shout out. His name is Corey. He's from Detroit. You can look him up on Instagram as Rock Mass Entertainment. And that brother is amazing. He did all my mastering for me. He did a lot of things on the album because I'm an amateur, right? So he did all the mastering and all that like hard stuff behind the scenes. Got my homie Rock Mass, who is a professional.
Sure.
I'm working on the music now for the big album. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna elaborate more on that too. But first, before I get into that, what is your personal favorite track off Lucille Son, and which poem almost didn't make it?
Oh, that's an excellent question. My personal favorite, and it's been a while. It's been a while since I just let the whole joint ride, because I was listening to it so much. You know what they say, like when a cook is like cooking, and then like the food is ready. Sometimes they're not hungry.
Yeah.
So right now, and I heard it like 3 or 4 days ago. Right now, it's Let It Rain. Let It Rain.
I love Let It Rain, man.
Let It Rain, man. The production, you know what I mean, and the whole Mary J. Blige run, and that was something I was kind of struggling with at the time.
Man, you inculcated like half all her projects.
Yeah, and Let It Rain. I say, looking at me in the mirror. So I was looking at myself in the mirror at the end of the album, but my mom was looking in the mirror in the beginning of the album. Dear Ancient of Days, right? I'm just talking to Jehovah. It's like a prayer. Dear Ancient of Days, let your downpour beat my back. Let your heavens of heavens moisture saturate my skin. Then maybe all this shame could shower away.
Yeah.
Maybe this regret from my sins could one day wash away. Let this guilt corrode so your fire can live in my bone marrow. Let your sun shower brighten my darkest day. You know what I mean? So, and today's forecast calls for heat, right? It took me years to break the weather front. You know how long it took me really say, you know what? Yeah, I'm a Jehovah's Witness and I'm proud of it. You know what I mean? I ain't fronting for nobody. It took me years to break the weather front. So this will be supernatural. Supernatural.
Natural.
No ghost whooping, right? No ghost whooping, right?
If you know, you know. Young
Right.
bucks listening to this,
Right.
go back to
Nope.
1990.
Ooh. No ghost whooping. Listen, God's hands are molding me like clay. Yesterday, I couldn't recognize the man looking at me in mirror. My reflection different. So good morning, gorgeous. Share my world. But first, take care of him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. And just keeps going
Mhm.
on. Well, I think it's wise for people not to just abuse a scheme or just abuse um like albums or movies like that and just throw them in your poem, but be thoughtful for where you place them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Share my world, but please take care of him. He's experiencing a lot of growing pains. Help him
Mhm.
break through. We've been, and then, this is Jehovah talking to me. We've been too strong for too long.
Mhm.
You and me, we
Mhm.
done had enough rainy days. So no more
Right.
drama. What's the
Mhm.
411? For real, son. It ain't over till it's over. So when you hug him, make sure you hold him. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, because he's fragile like a bomb, but dangerous like an unfinished poem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dangerous
So
like an
yeah, I just
unfinished
try to
poem. I
make
like that.
sense. Yeah, I try to make sense, and I try to whoever the listener is. I hope there's like a layer of it that they get and they understand, and I hope there's another layer of it that they have no idea what I'm talking about. I hope that happens too, because that means that they have to go back and listen again. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a replay
And you
value.
find something new. For me, even when listening to this, you
Right,
find something new that you didn't hear the first time when
right.
you listen to the poem. So, and
Thanks.
now interviewing you, you get my eyes are now open to a lot of different things, different
So
elements that you have added to some of the poem.
So, and you'll hear that in a lot of my poems where I take a scheme and I run it for a little bit and then go on to something else. I
Going
just
to
don't
something
keep
else.
doing it over and over again. Like
Yeah.
Chocolate Boy is a perfect example of that. There's a basketball run in Chocolate Boy. You know
Yes.
what I
Yes.
mean?
That's the
I could have did that
traveling
throughout the whole
and
poem, right?
yeah,
It could have been
exactly.
one poem, but none but alley-oop, steal. You know what I mean? It could have been
Right.
like a whole, but
But
why do that?
here's the issue. Here's the issue. You have people that aren't into basketball.
Right.
So if you take the whole entire poem and you're just making basketball metaphors, person that don't watch basketball don't this is gonna fly over their heads. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So
exactly.
yeah, that
Exactly.
definitely makes sense. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. You just dropped a new video.
Yeah,
Can you tell
man.
us about it?
Yeah, so if you don't know, you're gonna find 20. So she created this thing called Dear Poet. And she was like, hey, like, I'm gonna be putting up on our page. So on Instagram, it's the Poetry Corner John, the Poetry Corner John, JAWN. It's a Philly word, it means everything. They call it a super noun. Uh
And I'll
uh
have that link down in the description below too.
Awesome. So she created this joint called Dear Poet, where every Thursday she would just write like a little blurb on her page. Dear Poet, da da da, keep writing. Dear Poet, da da da, keep writing. And she's like, hey, you want to put one up? And I was like, all right. So I started writing it. And I was like, yo, this might sound good to some music. Yo, this might be a cool video. So, and it's just about it's a letter from me essentially to a poet, and it's kind of explains how to write a poem from beginning
Mm,
to end. Explains. I've never been able to explain my process. I can't do that. I don't know my process. It just
mm,
happened. I
mm,
don't know. It just happens, right? um I'm not very some people are like mathematicians with it, and they know exactly. Right now I need a metaphor. Right now I need a simile. Right now I need iambic pentameter. I don't do that. I just write. It just
right.
whatever feels. I'm a feeler,
Yeah.
you know. So if it
Yeah.
feels right, I'm gonna write it.
Exactly.
So the beginning of the poem, and I probably could have stopped after 3 lines. It says, "First you must find it," and it's true. First you must find the poem. The poem is out there somewhere. First you might find. You have to go find it. Sometimes a poem will run away from you. Sometimes you'll wake up in the middle of the night and oh, that might be a good line. Let me write that down. If you don't write it down, you're not gonna remember when you wake up. You're not gonna
Right.
remember.
Right.
So sometimes a poem will run away from you. So sometimes you gotta find it, then you have to feel it. Are you feeling the poem? Is it rough? Is it soft? Is it silky? Is it cashmere? Do you see sound? Is it a dark color? Is it light color? Is it a purple, a magenta, or is it a blue? Are you feeling the poem? What's the texture of the poem? I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But I definitely want to put it out in 24. So that the big album coming soon, man. And I'm looking to have some features. I'm looking to have some of my friends on it. So
Nice.
that'll be awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
In the meantime, check out, if you haven't done so already, Lucille's son, Buy Your Boy Hostage 1914. That link will be in the box down below. Go click that link after you watch this video and check out the album, available on all streaming platforms. Real quick before we get out of here, I got a section called Coffee Vibes Only. And basically what I saved this section of the show for is there any albums that you want to put the people in the cafe on, like whether it's old, new, any genre that you've been listening to, that you say, hey man, give this one a shot?
There's an album, and I'll give you the name of the artist. It's MIK. So I think they must be international somewhere. Mick and Samuel Kim. Mick and Samuel Kim, Kim. Mick and Samuel Kim. They have loads of Star Wars lo-fi. If you haven't heard it. What? Man, Star Wars.
I'm a Star Wars
lo-fi.
fan, so
Man, I don't know. If I could share my audio, man, you got to hear some of the stuff. It's absolutely amazing. It helps me write. But yeah, Star Wars lo-fi. Mick and Samuel Kim. It's crazy.
Send me the link, man. Send me the material off wax. I'm definitely looking for something. I'm always looking for something new. You know me. I swim across every sea of genre, so I'm all over the place.
Yeah. And you know about some of that what's his name? I forget the guy's name. I gotta find it, but he did like a whole album of just Wu-Tang orchestra.
L. Michaels?
L. Michaels,
yes.
The L. Michaels Affair.
Yes, L. Michaels Affair. Oh, he's amazing.
Amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. Listen to a lot of Afro Latino jazz, and I still got my Bjork and my Smashing Pumpkins, and you know what I mean. So I listen to a little bit of everything, man. I love it, man.
That's what's up. I'm going to be in my next episode after this one. I'm actually going to be reviewing a couple of new projects, but it's one in particular. Cartoons just dropped. The producer Cartoons just dropped a new album.
Really?
It's pretty good. I think you'll enjoy that one. And then it's this lady, her name is Okan, A-K-A-N. O-K-A-N. I'm going to be reviewing her album coming up. I'm not going to really voice on the project, but it's pretty good. If you're looking for something different to add to your arsenal, and you know, for those who are listening, check it out. We'll be reviewing it in the upcoming episode. But that is it.
Brother. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Joining us. For sure. Awesome. And when it comes to coffee, when it comes to poetry, and when it comes to music, stay grounded for life. And I will see you on the next one. He gonna see you on the next album.
See you on the next one. All right.
Peace.